All right. So one of the little side jobs I had to do this morning was reconnect the clutch pedal to the transmission by that little rod down there. It might be hard to see, but that's it right there. It was kind of a trick, especially since I took it out when the master cylinder and booster were out of the way. Gave me a lot more room, but I was able to do it. I just laid on the ground and reached up and put it back in. So a couple things I want to get done this morning is I want to finish wiring the new power for the electric fans. I'm still going to run some power for the push to start to the starter. So those are a couple things I want to get done this morning. And then probably start pulling the dash apart to put the heater core in, because you can't put it back together until you start doing that. So two little electrical projects and then onto the dash. All right, so what I've done is I've included these two solenoids. This way I can run 12 volt directly to the fan, so that it's not spliced into the ignition like it was when I first got the car. So it was kind of funny. You would run the car, turn it off, and because the motor was on the fan was still spinning, it would keep the car running for a few seconds until the fan slowed down. Got kind of annoying, so it needed a new plug anyway, so I went ahead and replaced that whole cut thing and got rid of the fan that was plugged into the distributor power there. So what we're going to do is we'll have a direct hot source, and then this will be switched with a low voltage 12, so that when you turn the key on and turn the fan on, then that will directly pull power from that. And on this side, this will be the relay that goes to the starter, so we'll have a 12 volt straight to the, I believe it's a purple wire that comes up for the starter solenoid, and we'll plug into that, and then this way, push to start, it will be on off, and we'll just have power through there. So I'll mark these later with starter and fan. I'm waiting for some thicker gauge wire to come in. I only have 14 gauge, and I want to run some 10 gauge for that and this fan system. So we're going to do that. I'm going to clean this wire up. I've got a new harness, and I probably will go all the way back up in here, and yeah, they cut through here, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace all that too. All right, so that'll be next, but until I get the parts coming in, I guess I could start working on getting the air box out. So that's it for right now for the electrical, and then we'll catch back up in another video. All right, so my wire came in, so we're gonna start wiring up the electric fan and then running power to our solenoids. All right, so I have my two wires cut in, the new 10 gauge connecting up to the fan, so I have my hot and my ground. I am going to run them along here. There's some holes in this metal bracket right here, so I'm going to put some casing around it, zip tie it up, and I'm going to go to where that bolt is right there. That's going to be the ground for this. I'm also going to ground from there over here by the alternator, where the ground is on the alternator. And then the red wire I'm going to run all the way up to the solenoids. So that will be the solenoid for the fan side will be connected to one of the blue wires, which will run this. All right, so next we'll be getting that in. All right, so fan wiring up to the radiator support. There's a couple of holes underneath this foam gasket, so you can just run some zip ties through that. So I got that all up off the fan, because before this wire casing used to rest on top of the fan or the radiator. Probably not the best for the wiring. Heat, cold, heat, cold. So I've made it to here. I have loomed this all up to this point. pulled my ground out because we're going to ground right here to this. This is where they had it grounded before, so it was working. But I'm also going to pull a ground from here over to the alternator. This way I can just make sure this thing's grounded. And then I will run this red wire along the fender here, and then up over this brake pedal box and down to my connections. So that's where I'm at now. So this red wire will be connected to a blue wire. This is the when you turn the key on or turn the power on, this will juice this, and it will be a solid 12 volts off of this red wire. So all right, that's where we're moving on to next. We need to fish this up in the housing here, and we'll get everything kind of situated. All right, so I've run this extra ground from the alternator to my front bracket, and I've encased it so that it won't short out against anything. So that part's done. Like I said, I still have to run power from the solenoid, so I was just trying to get this all buttoned up. So next will be to connect the blue to the red, and do a power wire for the two reds on this side, and that blue wire on that side right there will go to the starter. That will be the purple wire, that will be the solenoid wire, so it will be push to start, and that will be that. All right, I have added my power wire. So this is the terminal that goes to the battery for the charging system, and so what I've done is just added a hot feed, so it runs up into this other harness that I ran. So this only has two hot wires, a hot wire to the fan and the hot wire from the alternator, and it runs up the loom here to this. This is the power signal to the fan. This is the hot from the battery that will go to here, and that will be the main hot feed for these two solenoids. Blacks will get grounded, and the whites will go to their individual switches. So that will operate those two things. So it is getting a little late, so I'm going to call it quits for now, and pick this back up tomorrow, and get the last few wires up here done, and then I'm going to move into the cab there so I can run the switched on wire. So basically tomorrow I'll hook up this hot feed, the two grounds, the trigger signal for the starter, and then everything else will be done inside. So that will pretty much finish up the wiring out here, except for the fan unit for the old AC. I have to figure out if I am going to take those wires out or just kind of bundle them up someplace and hide them, because most of those aren't going to be used ever again. So we'll just have to see what I got. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We are getting closer and closer to eventually being able to fire it. We're still waiting for the parts for the tank to come in so I can put the tank back in, and then I can put the exhaust on. But we're almost there. Made quite a bit of headway the last few days, so not too bad. All right, pick you up tomorrow.